to the platform Logistics, Supply Chain and Infrastructure Projects. I am Professor Jitesh Thakkar, Professor Logistics and Supply Chain Management and Dean Academics at Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya, Central University, Vadodara. Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya is India's first and only university in the transportation and logistics sector, and the university is contributing towards empowering the future mobility workforce, industry professionals, and transport sector at large. The university has a unique mandate given by Government of India to contribute in the ecosystem of transportation and logistics encompassing the entire transportation sector, including rail, road, water, aviation, ports, and shipping. Being the only university in the domain of transportation and logistics in India, the university is committed to address unique challenges in the logistics sector with a focus on all three dimensions, that is technology, infrastructure, management, that is services, and policy, that is reforms. GSV is propelling the nation towards an era of interconnectedness and sustainable development through innovations and best practices in transportation and logistics sector. In today's highly competitive landscape, organizations excel in logistics and supply chain and infrastructure are better positioned to thrive their businesses indigenously as well as internationally. Efficient logistics and supply chain management plays a vital role in ensuring efficient operations, consumer satisfaction, and overall business profitability by optimizing transportation, warehousing, inventory, and the various other connected areas. This extends benefits such as reduced cost, improved return on investment, reduced lead time, enhanced capacity utilization, better customer service, and so on. Infrastructure projects are extremely vital for the growth, social development, and national security, and they provide essential services like transportation, energy, communication, and enables the businesses to operate efficiently and citizens to live comfortably. Delays or failures in the infrastructure project have severe consequences for a nation's development. This channel explores the critical issues in logistics, supply chain, and infrastructure project for both manufacturing and service sector. This video exchanges the views on: are we addressing 21st century port logistics challenges and emerging opportunities adequately? If you look at a couple of statistics and the kind of ecosystem which Government of India is trying to build, then India has a coastal line of more than 7,500 kilometers that is serviced by 13 major ports and 270 minor and intermediate ports. Ports across India handles more than 1.4 billion metric tons of cargo. Maritime transport is a key constituent to the trade and economic growth in India, and this contributes 90% in terms of volume and 77% in terms of value. If we look at some of the critical facts which establishes the importance of port logistics in India, then port logistics is the engine that drives maritime trade. It ensures the smooth and efficient movement of goods, supporting the global economy and fostering international cooperation. If we look at three important pillars, then one of the pillars where port logistics significantly contributes is the global trades. It opens the gateway to international trade, facilitating the exchange of goods and commodities between countries. The second pillar is economic growth. Efficient port logistics is essential for the economic development of region and nations, and it supports industries, creates jobs, and drives the various economic activities. The third pillar is supply chain efficiency. Ports has a very vital role to play in the global supply chain, and efficient port operations can help reduce costs, improve delivery times, and enhance customer satisfaction. If you look at the port sector in India, then it is experiencing the reforms to overcome several challenges that typically hinders its growth, and this includes lengthy project gestation periods, difficulties in securing financing from financial institutions, some of the bureaucratic hurdles. With the ease of doing business and the kind of initiatives taken by Government of India, we are overcoming these hurdles and securing finance from the various financial institutions. Even this includes financing through PPP project, international financing, and various other avenues. Government approvals, environmental clearances, and coastal regulations are some of the areas that demands the critical attention to expedite the port infrastructure development and modernization projects in India. Lack of easy financing options for port project is also caused by delays in obtaining government approvals, environmental clearances, and some of the compliances that are needed in line with the coastal regulations. Private sector and its involvement in India's port has been pivotal, vital, and notable in the development and expedition of the port infrastructure and capacity augmentation in India. Greenfield projects, often located in remote areas, require substantial government support for basic infrastructure. Developers, they also face challenges in securing a skilled workforce and providing necessary housing and amenities and so on. Overstaffing with unskilled labor and frequent disruptions from strikes hinder the development of many major projects in the port sector, and this reduces the efficiency and productivity. In addition to this, delays in government-led infrastructure development can significantly impact the usability of new port facilities. State agencies often find it difficult to meet expected timelines for the development of excess infrastructure and thereby making the developed port virtually unusable. India is investing significantly in the port infrastructure to meet modern shipping demands and accommodate the larger vessels and increased cargo volumes that is the need of the day. For example, if we look at JNPT, Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust in Mumbai, then this port requires significant capacity and infrastructure augmentation to minimize congestion and delays. The design limitations of older ports significantly impact operational efficiency. Vessels may need to wait in line for berths, causing delays in cargo handling and increasing shipping costs. In addition, some ports may not have the necessary depth or facilities to accommodate larger or ultra-large container ships, forcing them to anchor offshore and transfer cargo using feeder vessels. This process typically is time consuming and can lead to higher transportation costs. The Indian maritime sector has been facing crucial mismatch between traffic growth and capacity expansion, resulting in congestion and suboptimal productivity. Key bottlenecks, if we look at the macro level, then it includes inadequate infrastructure considering the large volume and the expanding business requirements, poor logistics, inadequate technological adoptions, cumbersome regulations. There are certain hindrances in terms of persistent labor issues. So if we just see, for instance, lack of adequate berths and cargo handling, equipment at some ports can lead to vessel delays and increased cost. Additionally, inefficient hinterland connectivity, such as rail and road infrastructure, today we are talking about multimodal logistics and connectivity. This can also impede the timely movement of cargo to and from ports. India's maritime sector is growing at a faster rate to address the various challenges in customs, procedures, and regulations, particularly in comparison to countries like Singapore, China, Malaysia. The lengthy documentation process and stringent examination requirements often lead to delays and increased cost. While international ports have largely adopted selective procedures for container inspections, with only 5% requiring physical examination, India's custom practices mandate a 10% inspection rate for each container. This burdensome requirement contributes to delay and adds to transportation cost. And in this direction, select policy reforms are taking place to minimize the delays and the logistics cost. Now, if we have seen the various challenges and opportunities that Indian port sector is facing, in view of these challenges, India's port sector typically, with the help of Government of India and various reforms, is investing in new port projects, upgrading the existing facilities. Private sector participation has also been encouraged, and it has shown very positive results through public-private partnership models in accelerating the port development and improving the efficiency. Couple of challenges that India port sector is facing, which typically hinders its efficiency and competitiveness, includes infrastructural deficiency, and there is a significant need to augment the port infrastructure in line with the road networks, improving the cargo handling equipment and dredging capacity can lead to operational bottlenecks and delays. Connectivity issue, poor hinterland connectivity through rail, road, highways, coastal shipping, and inland waterways hampers the efficient movement of cargo to and from ports. Technological limitations, inadequate navigational aids, facilities, and IT system can have severe impact on the efficiency of the port sector. Human capital constraint, there is a lack of technical expertise and skilled labor in this particular sector, ports and logistics, and that also has a negative impact on the efficiency and the operations of the sector. These challenges collectively contribute to the long turnaround times for vessels, and this has a negative impact on the overall port efficiency and competitiveness. The issue of port tariffs has been a cause of concern in the past. To address this issue, the government proposes to set up a single regulator, the Major Ports Regulatory Authority, which will be responsible for formulating guidelines, principles, approach, and methodology for setting rates for facilities and services provided at port terminals. So this kind of initiatives will provide ease in executing the various operations, clearances, and procedures at the port locations. The government has introduced the captive port policy, under which government will allow captive berths at major ports for private companies, and this will enable them to utilize these facilities exclusively for their own goods. Public-private partnership projects are expected to be the preferred mode for developing port terminals and other commercially viable activities in the country's major ports. Now, if you look at the necessary interventions and in what way we can go ahead in enhancing the efficiency of the port sector in India, then in order to encourage the investment opportunities in the port sector, government is presently offering a special tax incentive for investment through a 10-year tax holiday to enterprises that engage in developing, operating, and maintaining ports, inland waterways, and inland ports. Foreign capital inflow has been permitted by the government through 100% FDI under the automatic route for the construction and maintenance of ports and harbors. While the government has introduced several policy measures to accelerate the development, infrastructure augmentation, capacity building in port sector, such reforms should be aimed at upgrading the infrastructure at Indian ports, implementing new land policy for major ports, establishing a port regulator at all ports to monitor and regulate services and technical performance standards, simplifying the environmental clearances and the related processes for port projects will significantly expedite the capacity augmentation and development of various port related infrastructure projects. The country's maritime is intricately linked to economic trade activity. The demand for its ports and trade infrastructure will continue to mount as trade diversifies and grows, making a compelling case for rapid and efficient expansion of India's port sector. If we typically look at the scope of port logistics, then it is the process of planning, managing, and coordinating the efficient flow of goods in and out of seaports. It involves a complex network of activities that ensures the seamless movement of cargo between ships, trains, trucks, and other modes of transport. If you look at the critical elements of the port logistics system, then it includes right from the beginning at ocean shipping transport, it includes voyage supporting system, port entry system, stevedore system, transit system, storage system, and then inland transport connecting system leading to inlet transport. All this is strongly backed up by the port information system for the enhanced coordination, planning, and real-time monitoring of the operations. So, in summary, when we look at the port logistics, it has the key components like cargo handling, warehousing, custom clearance, transportation, and information management. All the areas require significant augmentation and improvement to ensure that India's port sector really operates at the benchmark performance with respect to the other country which has shown excellence in their port logistics. The various initiatives in terms of infrastructure projects taken by Government of India include Sagarmala project. It was launched in 2015 and it aims to develop India's port infrastructure and improve connectivity between ports and hinterlands. Modernization of existing ports. So, government has taken various initiatives to modernize the existing ports with new equipment, automation of processes, and improvement of infrastructure. If you look at technology and automation side, then automation, there are several Indian ports have implemented automated systems for cargo handling, terminal operations, and gate processes, and this has increased the efficiency and reduced the need for manual labor. There is also the growing implementation of IoT and artificial intelligence, and the use of Internet of Things, IoT, and artificial intelligence, AI, has enabled real-time tracking of assets, predictive maintenance, and optimized operations. The other enabler is blockchain. The blockchain technology is being explored for secure and transparent transactions, supply chain visibility, and smart contracts. If you look at the reform side, regulatory reforms, then one of the regulatory reforms on which Government of India is strongly emphasizing is ease of doing business. And this reform helps to improve the ease of doing business for operators, importers, exporters, and typically it includes streamlining custom procedures, reducing documentation requirements, and improving online services. The other part, as we discussed, is the growing involvement of the private parties through public-private partnerships to create the modern infrastructure of ports and augment the capacity timely. There is a focus on sustainability through green ports. The Indian ports are adopting sustainable practices such as reducing emission, minimizing waste, and conserving resources. And there is also a strong focus on the renewable energy, use of solar, wind power to reduce the carbon footprints. If we look at the challenges and future outlook, then despite a lot of developments in the port sector and the government initiatives, India's port logistics sector still faces select challenges, including infrastructure constraints, some of the bureaucratic hurdles, competition from neighboring countries. However, with the continued support from the government and the kind of initiatives we are taking as a part of Sagarmala Atmanirbhar Bharat project, industry investment and technological advancement, India is well positioned to become a major global maritime hub. India's port logistics sector, despite significant growth in recent years, needs to positively overcome some of the challenges for improving its competitiveness, and this includes infrastructure constraints in terms of inadequate berth capacity, outdated equipment, poor connectivity. Second is the bureaucratic hurdles. Ease of doing business is the focus, and hence reducing the complexity at the procedures level, multiple agencies involvement. Third is lack of standardization. So there are varying practices at different ports, and these varying practices and procedures many a times leads to inefficiencies and inconsistency. There is also an issue and concern for lack of interoperability. So lack of interoperability between different port systems and IT platform can hinder data sharing and coordination. The fourth is environmental concern. So certainly port activities contribute to pollution, increasing air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, and there is a need to critically focus on ensuring the environmental sustainability in the various port operations. Coastal erosion. Port development can lead to coastal erosion and habitat destruction. That is also one of the concern as a part of sustainability. And the fifth one is human resource challenges. So there is a dearth of skill, manpower in ports and shipping and logistics sector. And there are labor issues that gradually we are trying to overcome by creating highly skilled workforce in this particular sector. There are various benchmark practices in the logistics sector. Typically, when we look at the technology adoption, then automation, IoT, big data analytics, blockchain adoption can really help to improve the efficiency of India's port sector. Infrastructure development, modernization, interconnectivity, and green infrastructure are the enablers. Operational efficiency, we need to minimize the wastages, and there is a need to also minimize the procedural burden by adopting the lean practices, collaborations, and appropriate risk management and strategies, mitigation strategies to mitigate potential disruptions and ensure business continuity. There is also a need to adopt a client-centric approach in terms of customer services and digitization and adoption of key performance indicators, which gives the signal at the right time on improving various customer services, can really help to attract the foreign players to utilize our ports more efficiently, and also it can help the country to raise their foreign exchange. Regulatory reforms, clear regulations, efficient permitting, and trade facilitation are the enablers. So, by adopting benchmark practices, ports can significantly enhance their competitiveness, improve efficiency, and contribute to the growth of the global economy. If we look at the happenings in the 21st century, then it has witnessed surge in global trade, driven by factors such as economic globalization, technological advancements, rising consumer expectations, and this growth has placed immense pressure on port logistics, necessitating innovative solutions to address emerging challenges. A couple of challenges, if I just summarize, then rising cargo volumes, mega ship challenges, typically the emergence of ultra large container vessels, we call it as ULCVs, has created infrastructure demand, and typically this includes deeper channels and larger berths that not all ports can accommodate. Supply chain disruptions, environmental concerns, technological complexity, and cyber security threats are some of the emerging areas, and also the challenges that India's port sector need to address critically. So, by addressing these challenges and the various emerging opportunities, India's port sector can certainly put its operations at the forefront in the international landscape and provide much improved services to both indigenous and international clients. While India has made significant strides in port development, addressing various challenges, there is a need to invest in infrastructure, improve connectivity to enhance the global trade and economic growth. There are various government initiatives for port development, which includes Maritime Agenda. Maritime Agenda plan aims to modernize Indian ports and bring them on par with international standards. Port expansion. Government has identified more than 300 ports for the development as major ports, and this expansion is expected to significantly increase the port capacity, enabling India to handle a large volume of cargoes. Capacity enhancement. The target is to achieve 3,200 million tons and handle more than 2,500 million tons of cargo. And this ambitious goal demonstrates the government's commitment to transforming the port sector. With this, if we just summarize the overall talk and the exchange of views on emerging opportunities, challenges in port sector in India, then to enhance the competitiveness, India's ports must prioritize improving port service quality and intermodal infrastructure by providing efficient door-to-door containerized trade solution. Indian ports can become more attractive and cost-effective for global customers. For example, investing in modern cargo handling equipment, upgrading port facilities, and expanding hinterland connectivity through rail and road network can significantly enhance the overall port experience and reduce the logistics cost. Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya, which is India's first and only university in transportation and logistics sector, has a unique role to play in terms of creating highly skilled manpower for all the modes of transport: rail, road, aviation, water, ports, and shipping. GSV extends programs at all levels: undergraduate, postgraduate, PhD, an executive training program in the transport and logistics sector covering all modes of transport to enable nation's aspiration to reduce its logistics cost from present 14% to 8%. Transportation sector is a growth engine for India, which contributes roughly 6.3% of GDP of India. The university offers demand-driven curriculum with a focus on all three dimensions: technology, that is infrastructure; management, that is services; and policy, that is reform, to strengthen the ecosystem of multimodal transportation and logistics in the country. In line with the vision, innovation-led and industry-driven university, Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya has collaborated with various leading industries such as Airbus, Nippon Koi, Nokia, Siemens, Plaza India, Jacobs, Railtel, and many others to see that the programs designed and delivered here can really strengthen the competitiveness and the overall ecosystem of transportation and logistics in India. Thank you for your interest in exploring the issues in logistics, supply chain, and infrastructure projects. We will keep exploring more issues through this platform for the benefit of professional community in logistics, supply chain, and infrastructure projects.